4440981. You can also tweet at Smooth981. We're streaming the show live as well, so you can catch the live stream on our YouTube channel, Smooth FM 981 Lagos, and even post a comment on there. Good morning, Rotus.
Hey, good morning.
Inauguration Day.
Indeed. Happy post-inauguration day to you as well. Good morning to you and all our listeners and YouTube viewers.
All right. So what was your favorite part of the Tinubu inauguration speech?
Where was that? Let me look for that quote. It was he touched on, I think, a number of the geopolitical zones. Okay, yeah. So whether from the winding creeks of the Niger Delta, the vastness of the northern savannah, the boardrooms of Lagos, the bustling capital of Abuja, or the busy market of Onitsha, you are all my people. So I like that. And then he also extended an olive branch to people who didn't vote for him, saying that if you voted for me, thank you. If you didn't vote for me, thank you as well. But the election is over. Let's come together. So I did like that unity attempt from him. Also saying that, you know, he acknowledges the fact that his opponents are in courts. He said that's their rights and he supports their right to go to court and so on. So, you know, the speech hit a lot of the right notes, I thought.
Okay. So now the president, I'm just trying to get used to calling him the president because he was president-elect for we can't say president-elect. So I'm gonna have to get you to say the president. So the president says he's targeting a minimum 6% GDP growth. What do you think about that? Is it something that can be achieved?
Yeah, it can be achieved. The issue is the time frame. You know, economic growth is about, you know, opening up and, you know, opening the taps and, you know, really increasing the value of the goods and services that you produce across different sectors. So, I mean, look at last quarter, the first quarter of this year, agriculture, which is a big part of our economy, actually contracted. I think it was partly due to the cash scarcity and so on. So you've got to think of ways, for example, to open up agriculture, increase your yield per hectare, introduce more mechanized farming, and so on and so forth. And then you've got to look at, you know, how power is holding us back, and how much businesses are spending on their power needs. You've got to look at the foreign exchange issues, bringing down inflation. So it's possible. He didn't give a time frame. It can be done. Definitely not this year. I don't think it can happen next year. So maybe you look at a 2025 or a 2026 to get that kind of growth. But he's got to move really quickly. So it's possible, but lots of work to be done there.
Now, fuel subsidies are officially gone.
Yeah.
What's the impact?
He said it. The impact, of course, is that prices will rise. There were some, I'm yet to verify this. There were some videos floating around of fuel selling for 500, 600 naira per liter, but none of that has been verified. I think people just took some old videos of maybe diesel being sold or something when diesel was rising. But you're going to see an increase. If you think about how much you spend right now to fill up your tank, you're probably looking at -- 2, × 3 of that. But the impact is that, you know, if fuel subsidies are removed, then it saves the country a lot of money. We spent an, you know, estimated $10 billion last year. So you save a lot of funds that can be channeled elsewhere. But he has to be specific. He didn't mention anything about how the palliatives will work. So he's got to, you know, illustrate that as time passes.
All right, so let's talk about some tweets that made the rounds. Now, these tweets are from Olusegun Nigbinde. He's the head of the think tank Budget. Can you share what he said in his reaction to the fuel subsidy removal?
Yeah, in fact, let me forward those tweets to you. He basically said that, I mean, I think in one of the tweets saying that you can't remove fuel subsidy without offering to reduce waste in governments. You can't be living large while citizens bear the higher cost of living. You are a leader, you need to show example and earn trust. And he said he held this position in 2011 when the Jonathan administration tried to remove fuel subsidies back in, you know, ahead of 2012 and also now 2013. And he also said subsidy removal must happen, but it requires tact. You have to figure out how to handle food inflation, provide alternative means of transport, and ramp up social investment under a well-structured program. Anything else is a pathway to social disorder. So he's the head of budget. Budget, of course, the think tank that puts out a lot of economic reports, especially on the states. So he's a pretty influential figure when it comes to the economy. So, yeah, I agree with him. I very much agree with what Sheon said there. And that has to be, again, illustrated and has to be, described by the president going forward.
You're listening to Business Express on Smooth 98.1. And we're talking about the president laying out his agenda in his inaugural speech. Let us know if you've got a thought or a comment that you'd love to share. 0809 440 981. That is the WhatsApp number. Or just tweet at Smooth 981. Rotus, it seems like the fuel queues are back again. Why, oh, why?
Yeah, it's people trying to take advantage of the situation. I was, in fact, I should share another video. I just have all types of videos to share with you. While I was driving yesterday after the speech was concluded, this was around the Palms Mall. I saw a line snaking out of the fuel station that was near there. So basically, they're holding on to the fuel they have. They want to see if they can sell as little as possible at the current price and wait until subsidy removed. And then when the price is jacked up, then they now sell their inventory and make money. I don't think they can maintain that between now and the end of June. That's a long time to wait, but we'll see. But it's wrong to be doing that kind of stuff immediately like this. It's not
why?
Right.
Just why? All right.
They're trying to make money,
Yeah, but at what point do we as Nigerians look beyond this excessive need for money and material things and just causing hardship for fellow humans? It's weird.
They are, and their argument will be that, well, we've been selling at a loss, and now this is the actual pump price that fuel should be sold for, and we should be able to make profits and stuff like that. But it's not justified at this point. You're just trying to hurt Nigerians, so that's where we are, Zibby. It's a jungle out there.
All right, let's look at a few messages coming through. Matthew says, I hear some petrol stations are already hoarding the petrol they bought at a subsidized rate. Maybe they'll be able to sell it at a higher rate to consumers. This is the people, not the government now. Oh, we are our own problem. And Nathaniel says, Rotus has been a very big proponent of fuel subsidy removal. I want to ask him if he thinks the removal of subsidies on diesel and kerosene have really impacted us enough to encourage the removal of subsidy on petrol.
Well, the thing is, it's the costs. It's what it's costing government. You're spending $10 billion a year on petrol subsidies, and that money could be going elsewhere. And the thing is, it's the bottom of the pyramid. The poorest Nigerians are the ones that essentially pay. They don't even they don't consume. I think they consume about 3% or so. It's mostly people who own cars, large businesses. Those are the ones that are able to afford it. So it's just, and it's an implicit tax. That's what you pay for power in this country when you get a generator and so on. You're paying an implicit tax because your government is not able to provide you with proper amenities. So the subsidies have to go. They're not helping anybody. They're just not helping.
All right, Yinka says, I'd appreciate if you can spend a moment on the show this morning to call out the fuel stations who have decided to hoard already subsidized products. Imagine a station that got 2 tankers on Saturday and selling for $2.10 per liter. I got a full tank there, and yesterday, shortly after the announcement, they locked up. Subsidy needs to go, and there's no point sugarcoating or dodging the obvious facts.
We're calling them out. We're calling them out, Yinka. We're calling them out. It's not Zibby already said so. It's wrong. So it's wrong to be doing that.
Deji says area boys are making it very difficult to also get petrol, and he's included evidence of that. Some area boys harassing motorists just at the entrance of a petrol station. All right.
Well, now, then you should see another thing. He should just remove it tomorrow. He doesn't need to wait. He doesn't need to wait until the end of June because there's still a subsidy provision. So you should just, if they're doing this already, yank it off now. The 3.6 trillion that they've appropriated for it, put that money elsewhere. So just yank it off now and just move. But yeah, so they're just acting on what the president said, essentially.
Cisco Delgado says, I think it's time for Nigerians to see and appreciate the amazing power of solar energy. I don't use cooking gas or generators, haven't used it for almost 4 years now. Ooh,
nice, good. Nice. Although there is the upfront cost, there's the issue of upfront costs on renewable energy. The government should try to step in and make it more affordable. But now I'm talking about another subsidy again. So anyway.
All right. So there was something that the president said yesterday. He said monetary policy should be thoroughly clean. What exactly did he mean by that?
Made it sound like he wants to sweep out the entire central bank. I mean, that's that's what it sounded like to me. But we'll see what happens. CBN governor still has another year in office, but it just sounded like, fumigate the place, clean it all out. That's what it sounded like. Well, he has to explain further what he meant in further interviews or something.
Okay. Now, he also said that the CBN should target a single exchange rate. And is that something that can be achieved? And what will the impact be really if that is actually achieved?
So exchange rate, I mean, you move to a single exchange rate. Everybody pretty much feels like the parallel market is where the real value of the naira versus the dollar. So if we all move to a single exchange rate, it will be good because you have transparency. Foreign investors know exactly how much value they're getting for money they bring into the country. All these multiple exchange rates just cause distortions. They encourage round tripping. Somebody gets money at the 460 something and goes and sells it at 7 something to make a profit without bringing any value to the country. So the single exchange rates, other countries, Kenya, Ghana, South Africa, they all have it. So we should join them as well.
Now, the president also said foreign investors should head on to Nigeria. What would these foreign investors want to see, really?
Well, one, they want to see a single exchange rate so they have clarity. Two, they want to see a business environment that is more friendly. Well, I think we're ranked 130 or 131 out of 190 countries or so, according to the World Bank, in terms of ease of doing business. So they want to see power. They want to essentially be able to not multiple taxation. They don't want area boys running up and down the place there. And they want a safe country. Tourism is suffering in this country because of insecurity. Nigerians can't travel around freely by road and so on. So insecurity, power, exchange rates, you fix those three and foreign investors will flock in here.
All right, let's talk about interest rates. He said that the interest rates need to calm down. How will that be achieved?
Yeah, so you've got to reduce cost of doing business for the banks. You've got to reduce, default rates. The rate of default is relatively not comfortable. You've also got to improve data as far as knowing who is getting a loan, where they live, what collateral they have. I know we have credit rating agencies and so on, but I think more needs to be done to where you've got a single, something similar to social security number. Maybe the NIN becomes our ID number for everybody, and you're able to track people better. So improve data, reduce cost of doing business. Maybe you get lower exchange rates, lower interest rates, excuse me.
Benito says, fuel subsidy removals, Nigeria should be moving towards renewable energy mix and a gas mix. Nigeria is seating on a large volume of gas and nothing is done but flaring it instead. We need to move forward with the future.
Indeed, Egypt gets a lot of its power from natural gas. Was there last week and it's amazing. So I totally agree.
Rotus, shouldn't they sweep out the entire CBN? I'm sorry, but those guys have caused more problems for us. Arbitrage is one crazy thing that they ended up encouraging. Have they really sat down to analyze the amount of money we spent on foreign education? Yet they keep providing FX for it when they should be the ones ensuring that our educational sector works.
That's on the fiscal side. Central bank only manages our FX. The fiscal side, the government itself, the last administration had a Ministry of Trade and Investment. They had a Ministry of Education. You know, you had your ASU strikes. I mean, you've got to improve all these things because Nigerians will go abroad to get these services if they can't get them at home. So the last administration, I'm so glad they're gone. We have a lot of work to do to push the country forward. So let's just wish the president well, because a lot of work to do.
Indeed, we need to wish the president and Nigeria well. All right, thank you, Rotus, for being on the show this morning.
Thanks, Zibby. Thanks to all our listeners for their messages. See you guys tomorrow.
You can keep in touch with Rotus at RotenQuotes on Twitter. That's all the time that we have for Business Express. To stay with us, there is a lot more to come on the